Magic has had a lot of creature tribes over the years, and zombies has been one of the longest running. They just keep coming back. Hello, I'm the Pauper Guy. Today, I'm going to be talking about a deck that belongs to my favorite Pauper tribe, zombies. There are many different kinds of zombie tribal decks that can function in very different ways, and it would be a mistake to lump them all together. This particular deck I call Zombie Aggro Burn. This is because the deck sits in a weird middle ground between aggro and burn, running out cheap creatures quickly, but then making burn-style plays later once attacking is no longer feasible. So let's meet our zombies. First up, we have Carnophage, a 2/2 for 1 mana that requires you to pay 1 life every turn or it taps itself. Don't be worried about paying life every turn, we have ways of getting that back later. Changeling Outcast counts as a zombie, and being an unblockable 1/1 for 1 mana makes it worth playing since we can just keep swinging every turn after it hits the board. Our next 2 cards work particularly well together, Carrion Feeder and Festering Mummy. Carrion Feeder is a staple of any Pauper deck that likes to sacrifice its own creatures. It's a 1/1 for 1 that can't block, but can sacrifice your other creatures whenever you want for free and put a 1/1 counter on itself. Festering Mummy is also a 1/1 for 1, but when it dies, you put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Carrion Feeder gives us flexibility by letting us turn a bunch of small creatures into one big one, or by eating a creature that is about to die to combat or removal. Festering Mummy is more of a defensive card, but it's one of the most versatile zombies I've played with, and it helps significantly against aggro decks. I haven't seen Highborn Ghoul on any other zombie lists before, but I think this is just the right place for it. It's a 2/1 for 2 black mana with Intimidate, meaning it can only be blocked by other black creatures or artifact creatures. These first 5 zombies are our shock troops, hitting the board fast and getting in early if they can, but the next 2 cards are really the heavy hitters of the deck. Both of them care about how many zombies you have on the board, so keeping your early zombies alive, even if it means sitting around without attacking, is definitely worth it. Gempalm Polluter is a 4/3 for 6, but we will literally never play it as a creature. Instead, we will use its cycling ability, which costs 2 black mana. When you cycle Gempalm Polluter, you may have target player lose 1 life for each zombie in play. Plus, you get to draw a card from the cycling, so this is a great deal for 2 mana. While he can be found in the majority of mono-black Pauper decks out there, most people tend to overlook the fact that Garry is a zombie. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is a 2/4 for 5, and when he comes into play, each opponent loses X life, and you gain that much, where X is your devotion to black. Assuming that you've managed to keep most of your zombies alive, there should be plenty of black pips on the board for you to count. We only run 3 because although Garry is a very strong card, it costs over twice as much mana as most of the other cards in the deck. Geth's Verdict and Tendrils of Corruption give us a little bit of control. Geth's Verdict is a black instant for 2, making target player sacrifice a creature and having them lose 1 life. Tendrils of Corruption is a black instant for 4. It counts your swamps and deals that much damage to a creature, healing you for the same amount. Sign in Blood is a black sorcery for 2 mana. It has target player draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. This gives us a little bit of card advantage and helps smooth out our mana and draws. Every once in a while, you can even kill your opponent with it since it can target any player. Finally, we have the best reason to play zombies in Pauper, Googlecallers Chant. This is a black sorcery for only 1 mana that lets you grab 1 creature or 2 zombies out of your graveyard and putting them into your hand, making it some of the cheapest and best recursion in the format. We only run 3 because it is a dead card in the early game, and getting more than 1 isn't usually helpful. The mana base is very simple, with 20 swamps and 2 Barren Moor. At most, we're looking to reach 5 mana, and even then, you can easily win some games with only 2 or 3. In the sideboard, we start with 2 Carrion Feeder. We can't run cards like Nausea to hurt opponents that go wide without hurting ourselves pretty badly as well. Carrion Feeder at 3 mana only costs 1 more and hits our opponent's creatures and happens to be an instant. 3 Duress are good against control decks, or really any deck that plays mostly non-creatures, like Burn. 3 Faerie Macabre are a 0 mana way to slow down decks that get value from their graveyards. 1 more Geth's Verdict in case we run into decks like Bogles, Mono-White Heroic, or Reanimator that tend to have 1 very large creature. 3 Soul Reap. This card is honestly good enough to be put in the main board, but its downsides mean that it's safer to start in the sideboard. Soul Reap is a black sorcery for 2 that destroys target non-green creature, then has its controller lose 3 life if you've played at least 1 other black spell this turn. 3 Sovereign's Bite. This is a black sorcery for 2 that just siphons 3 life from your opponent. Helps against burn. That's all I've got for now. With any luck, I'll have a gameplay video up on Wednesday so you can all see the deck in action. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a comment and subscribe for more Magic the Gathering Pauper content.